This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If your small business has a problem, you could say,
Ugh, just my luck.
but you should say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and we'll help get you back in business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandy, the Millennial Manager, and today is Friday. I want to say a huge shout out to Patreon for supporting the podcast financially. If you are not inside of Patreon, you are missing out. We will be going live tomorrow evening. We haven't had a live because of our virtual podcast event. Then it was Valentine's Day weekend, and now we can have our live, and it's this Saturday, and we're going to be talking about a myriad of things. I have a lot of topics that I want to discuss, but for today, we're going to be talking about federal layoffs, okay? Let's start with how we got here in the first place, okay? We got here because of the election, all right? None of this would be happening if the election did not take place the way it had. So because that transpired, now here we are from January to February. The Trumpet and Lil Muskie boy, they've been running around the United States government cutting funding is essentially what has been happening. And they are saying that when you cut these positions, this is what is going to save the country money. That's how they're painting this image. And they're doing so through the Department of Government Efficiency, which is DOGE. If you have been seeing that online, that is what that acronym stands for, okay? That is DOGE, okay? Department of Government Efficiency. Now, through this, they have been firing or laying off probationary employees who have not been with the federal agencies for more than a year. So anyone who has been there less than a year is considered a probationary employee. So these people may have started midpoint 2024 or, right at that 2024 beginning of the year. And those are the people that they are terminating. Now, this has impacted a lot of agencies. This has impacted Department of Education, of course, Department of Labor, Health and Human Services, Department of Energy, Department of Transportation, and Commerce. These have all been affected by these layoffs. Through this, we have seen a lot of federal employees really struggling with this situation because it has caused them to be unemployed, of course, and it's going to cause a ripple effect in the economy. I don't think that the people who are cheering this on, I don't think they realize that federal employees are not just the people who live in Washington, D.C. These people live in Detroit, they live in Oklahoma, they live in Los Angeles, they live in Atlanta. These people live all across the country. So they are catapulting these people into unemployment. And my concern is that there is going to be an issue when people file for unemployment, because if you have so many people filing en masse, that is going to clog up the unemployment system, which is already a struggling one, to say the least. It is not very efficient. I remember in 2020 when a lot of people were unemployed. Thank God, I did not have to do that. But there were so many people applying, and it was taking weeks and weeks and weeks to get notices for people to be able to say, like, okay, I've been approved for unemployment. Or it took months even for some people to get unemployment. And so I'm really concerned at that point, because if people are unemployed, They're not able to draw unemployment, which is only, I think, up to $400 or something like that per week. It's not like your full check that you're getting. When you go on unemployment, you're not able to, or if you're not able to draw it, you're not able to pay your bills fully, 100%. And what happens if you cannot pay your rent? Evictions, okay? Evictions, and then there are going to be properties up for rent. People will have a really hard time finding homes, like being able to secure a roof over your head because of this fallout. And I'm just going to throw in here, guys, elections have consequences. And for those of you who decided to, vote Jill, you are a part of this. You did this. You can hold your hand up and say, I'm responsible, because I don't think y'all realize what was actually at stake at this point. I'm not sure if they really are grasping the reality until it hits them, until it's on their front door. A lot of these people were not around when we went through the recession in 2008, 2009. I had just graduated high school. It was hard as fuck for me to find a job. It was almost impossible. Like, we were applying every single day. We had a new baby and we're applying for jobs, and it was impossible to find them. Or the jobs that we're paying were only paying $7 an hour, and you have to pay rent. That is not enough to survive or, to live off of. And it's just a really sad thing that's about to happen economically. And my concern is that a lot of people don't realize that there are some lawsuits out there. So the federal unions that represent these employees have filed lawsuits against the federal government and the trumpet, which is great. However, we don't know whether or not the judge is going to reverse his decision. And in between that decision being made, the federal government went ahead and terminated these probationary employees, which is awful because the decision has not even been made. How are you able to just make a decision and terminate these people based off of nothing? There have been some cases where I've heard that they're making up like performance issues or saying like the person lacked the ability to really perform and meet the standards of the federal government. Thank God that some of these employees have their performance reviews downloaded. Thank God, because they have something in their standing. And this is why we talk about documentation a lot. And I actually wanted to do a video about this on social media, is that you have to really make sure that you're documenting everything that happens in the workplace for situations like this. When you are laid off or terminated and you have to draw unemployment, you may want to have that documentation just in case the employer tries to be sneaky like the U.S. government is and saying that these people weren't performing up to par when in reality they had been. They have the performance reviews to show like, yes, I have been. Now, as we stated before, that of course the federal unions are coming in to support the federal employees who have been laid off during this time. But there's also another resource, and that is OPM, which is the Office of Personnel Management. And this department provides guidance and resources to federal employees during layoffs, including information on your employment benefits, your career transitioning, as well as your appeal rights. So now we know how we got to this place. We've talked about the economic impact. Let's talk about the morale of the workplace. So what this is starting to do is create job insecurity, even in the private sector, because a lot of businesses, large and small alike, depend on the structure of the federal government. And I don't think people realize, even myself, I have a little bit of job insecurity there because I work in dentistry. Dentistry is more than likely paid off of a patient's insurance benefit plan. And if these people don't have jobs, come on now. The insurance lasts for so long, but it's not going to be something that you can use for the next 2 or 3 years. Cobra is only about 1 year, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me. But Cobra only lasts for a certain amount of time. And so we don't really have that much time. And people need cleanings. People need crowns. They need, I work in corporate dentistry. So this has created insecurity inside of the private sector, which sadly, this all ties back in to the economy. A lot of industries outside of the federal government are going to see this hardship. Layoffs mean that people are not able to pay childcare. People are not able to pay for private school. People are not able to afford a home inside of a gated community with those great schools. They're not able to afford vehicles because I lost my job. Come on. These things are all connected. And those of you who tried to say, well, politics has nothing to do with jobs, you are crazy, because laws and the very laws that we uphold in the workplace, that all comes from the federal government and state and local government. So all those things are connected. The working conditions for employees, OSHA, HIPAA.
This is a PSA, or public sock announcement. Experts have declared Bombas socks as the best way to warm up chilly feet. These pairs are super cushy, soft, and designed for maximum coziness. Plus, for every pair purchased, another pair will be donated, so someone in need of essential clothing can stay warm this winter. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
There's one thing that will forever change the way you sleep, and it's the softest 100% organic cotton bedding from Boll & Branch. You'll fall asleep faster, wrapped in the most luxurious comfort. You'll never sleep hot again with airy blankets, cloud-like duvets, and breathable sheets. You'll experience pure comfort on night one and feel your bedding get softer with every wash. Discover the difference with 15% off your first order at bollandbranch.com with code CUMULUS. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was getting frustrated by your forms. Now Taxes is uploading your forms with a snap, and a TurboTax expert will do your taxes for you. One who's backed by the latest tech, which cross-checks millions of data points for absolute accuracy, all of which makes it easy for you to get the most money back guaranteed. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
If your small business has a problem, you could say,
Ugh, just my luck.
but you should say,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and we'll help get you back in business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
But it's so many things that just connect to the federal government that is very concerning, that people don't think that these things are connected. As for the employees themselves, I really hope that y'all are understanding what your rights are in this situation. You need to, number one, review the contract that was given to you by the United States government or by your department that is within the United States government. This will help you understand your rights and responsibilities that you have during a layoff situation. I want to say a dear friend who has been impacted by this, she informed me that when you apply for the unemployment, let's say this situation is reversed, right? They're able to go back into the workplace. Their union rep told them that if you draw unemployment, you are going to have to pay that back. This is why being knowledgeable of what your rights and your options are, this is why it's so important, because you need to make sure that not only do you know those things that are inside of your employment contract, you need to know who your union representative is, because they are the person, or this is the person, the entity that is going to be connecting you with the information that you need. So if there is a change in the process for this lawsuit, or if they throw the case out, like whatever it is that is going to happen, that is the person who is going to reach you. Also, if you feel like your layoff was unlawful or discriminatory, which we know some of those cases, that is the truth. We know that. You may want to contact an attorney to discuss your legal options. Take care of your finances. Make sure that if you are filing for unemployment, like I said, be careful, because if you get called back into work, you possibly will have to pay that money back. Review your budget and your expenses. Try to cut down on spending if you can. Consider what your financial options are. If you have a savings, you may want to consider using that during this time, or maybe if you want to hold out, you have to evaluate your financial situation. You may want to explore other financial options. Do not put yourself in debt, though, okay? Because that is very hard to come back out of. Be careful with that, with lines of credit, getting credit cards, please. I'm not a financial expert, but I do know some, okay? And I might have to bring somebody on to the podcast to talk about that. But preparing your mental health for what is about to take place, or what has taken place. If you were one of those people who were laid off this week or in the last few weeks, you need to acknowledge what has just happened and really sit in the emotion. You need to experience the sadness. You need to experience the feeling of loss, the anger, the frustration. You have to really sit in that in order for you to come out on the other side of this. Okay? Do not try to push those feelings down, because they are going to jump out at your ass. So you need to make sure that you are feeling those feelings. Sit in those emotions. Talk to somebody that you trust, maybe someone who is outside of the federal government, and then also a person who is inside of the federal government, so you have some balance, okay? If you do have a therapist and your benefits are still available, please utilize those and talk to a therapist. And just overall, take care of yourself mentally, emotionally. Go out for long walks. Like, really, really take care of yourself, because this is an uncertain time. And it can be very scary. It can be very daunting. And then you see it on the news. People are talking about you like you're not a person, like you're just a number, and you're a person. This is a human who lost their job. This is not Monopoly. These are people, okay? They have families. They have homes that they have to take care of. They have school that they have to take their children to. They have bills. They have family members that they take care of. So I just want to make sure that we understand the gravity of this. Like, this is not something to be taken lightly. It is not something to laugh at. It is a very terrible situation. So please know my heart is with every last person who has been affected in this situation. Let's go to a few emails. All right. And our first email says, "Hi, Brandy. I hope this email finds you well. I hope you can answer a question for me and maybe offer some advice. So my job called an emergency meeting in the Teams chat. We work from home. I just started this job in October of 2024 and just finished training on February 3rd or 4th. They told us today about something called voluntary resignation separation program." Oh, Lord have mercy. Not the Muskie, dude. Oh, Jesus. "Stating that we may or may not be laid off on May 1st. I've never heard of this, and I wonder if I should sign up for it. Can you offer any advice? I would be so grateful for any help. Betty." No. Do not sign up for a voluntary severance package. Let them lay you off. Okay, please. Do not do this. And y'all, they're pulling a Muskie. They're pulling a Muskie. Don't take it. Do not take the bait. Okay? So if they're going to lay y'all off, or maybe not, you just need to start looking for another job. You may have to go in person, because we know what is happening with this work from home situation. Because Trumpet did what he did, now they are trying to stop the work from home abilities inside of the workplace, inside of the private sector. So that means you're going to actually have to go into the office. A lot of you who have been home since 2020, or maybe even before, this is a reality that you have. And they're basically trying to get people out voluntarily to lower costs. No, let them lay you off. Okay? Do not ever take a buyout, especially in a situation like this. Like, that's exactly what this is. It's a similar program to the federal buyout. Do not take it. let them lay you off. But in the process, you prepare yourself for that and what that looks like. If they're saying May 1st, you still have 2 months to land on your feet. Do not take a buyout, okay? Unless it is in the hundreds of thousands, which I know that a lot of people are not getting something like that, okay? So hell to the no. Do not accept it. Do not even entertain it. If they ask you, they're going to start pressuring you. Have you made your mind up? If you're going to accept the resignation program, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? I haven't decided. Do you understand me? Do not tell them that you're interested. Do not tell them that you're thinking about it. I have not decided. I have not decided. Every time, and you need to have the same poker face. Do not let them pressure you, because middle management is going to pressure you into answering the way that they want you to answer, okay? Do not give in. Say no, okay? I have not decided. Thank you very much. All right, in our next email, it says, "Good morning, Queen. Good morning. My name is Betty, okay? Y'all, because we keep it real secure up in here. I've been following you a while on Facebook. Girl, thank you. I work at a hospital as a telemetry technician, and last week, HR and the director that's over us informed us that we will not be at the hospital anymore. They are moving all telemetry monitoring technicians downtown in a Houston medical center in our area. Currently, I live about 5 to 7 minutes away from the hospital that I work at now. If I accept this position, it's going to be at least an hour and a half drive. They told us that we're not a guaranteed position, and they're only paying us 2.5% geographical raise. Ma'am, considering that I've worked in a medical center doing the same job and was paid more, they're saying that they'll pay $150 towards our park and ride Metro bus. My question is, how should I negotiate my money? I hope to hear from you, and thanks for all you do. Baby, I'm not sure what we're negotiating for, because they're talking about this is like possibly not going to be a guaranteed position. So are we negotiating to get fired? Like, even if you go in there asking for this and they give it to you, it's not a guarantee that they're really going to give it to you. They just may say yes to get you out of there here. But when you get down there to this other position, that may not be the case. So I'm not sure if it is worth it. Okay. Now, what I will say is, because of the current economic state of this country, you had better take that position. I know you don't want to hear that, and work it until you can find something else. Okay, find something else closer to your home that's more convenient. I know it's going to be a struggle for you, but that's the reality of this situation, is that you can't just negotiate, because you don't really know what's on the other side of this. And if you negotiate and they push back, it could cause an issue for you in your current position, and also put you at risk from losing whatever it is down the road. And sadly, this is a terrible thing that organizations like to do, because they're dangling this carrot and you really don't know if you have any other options. And I'm here to tell you that you do. You do have another option. The option is to take that position and ride it out until you can find another job, because you don't know about the certainty of this job that you're going to have in this other area. You don't know that. So I would not push back. I would take my increase that they're giving me, and I would start applying for new positions immediately, just because of the comment that it's not guaranteed. I'm guaranteed right here. Why can I not be guaranteed there? You're trying to lay me off, and they want people to quit is really what they want, because nobody wants to drive an hour and a half to this other location. I'm sure that the other employees who work with you, they live in close vicinity to this hospital. So they're wanting you to quit. That's why they're offering you something that is so out of pocket, something that is not really going to change your life financially in a positive way. It's actually going to cost you more money in gas. It's going to cost you more time in the mornings as you are getting ready to go to work. It's going to cost you in time coming back home, which then causes you frustration. So they're trying to get people to quit. That's what they want, because it's going to cut down the cost. That's what is going to give you the guaranteed rate or not, is if people quit, or the guaranteed job or not. If people quit, then they're going to have the funding to keep the ones that stayed. That's all this is. They're giving you something that seems like an issue for some, so they know that people are not going to take this deal. They're going to quit. That's what they're banking on. So that's why the position is not guaranteed. It's because they're playing a game with you guys. If I were you, I would take the deal. Do not push back. And as soon as you get in there, or before you even get there, you need to start applying to positions that are closer to home so that you can leave on your own terms and not some shit that they're cooking up, okay? Thank you. Well, that is going to be all for today. I want to say thank you very much for everyone who is listening and supporting the podcast, especially Patreon. And also, I just want to send a big old hug to the federal employees. My heart is with you guys. This is such a terrible experience, but it's a lesson that some people need to learn. And sadly, we are caught in the crosshairs of it because we did what we were supposed to do. There are some people who did not, in fact, understand the assignment, and they need extra time to complete the test. Okay? So God bless y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day at work. Y'all have a good one, and I will see Patreon tomorrow on our live session. All right? Y'all have a good one. Bye.
If your small business is booming, you might say,
Cha-ching!
but you should say,
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
and we'll help your growing business. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.